It's the ultimate travel guide from the people who know it best. Weekends with Yankee.
From Maine, we head down the coast to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a fishing hub-turned-foodie destination along the beautiful New England seacoast. Here is where Yankee food editor Amy Traverso introduced me to James Beard award-winning chef Jeremy Sewell, whose restaurant, Row 34, takes the classic New England oyster bar and reworks it for the farm-to-table crowd. In this case, the farm is actually a series of oyster beds off the New Hampshire coast. In a bit, we'll cook up some oyster stew, but first, we need to get harvesting with one of Sewell's local oyster purveyors, Jay Baker from Fat Dog Shellfish.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm Richard.
I'm Jay.
My name is Jay Baker. My wife and I are the owners of Fat Dog Shellfish Company. We are a 12-acre oyster farm here in the Great Bay Estuary.
And you've got to be Jeremy.
That's me. Nice to meet you, Richard.
One of the many Sewells that inhabit the region.
There's a lot of us up here.
What a day we have out here.
I planned the perfect day for you, so we got lucky.
Thank you very much.
Come on board.
My family are lobstermen. My grandfather started lobstering in the 1930s out of York Harbor, and growing up, you know, we'd have these big family picnics and the table was covered with lobster, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, and I wanted to be a lobsterman. And then I went out lobstering one day in the winter and was cured instantly of ever wanting to be a lobsterman. That was a lot more fun to eat and cook them than it was to go out and catch them.
Why are the oysters here special?
They are definitely a product of their environment. So how salty the water is, how cold it is, all of those things go into the factor of, you know, size, shape, taste, everything. So anytime you could take an oyster that's a little bit different, grown in a unique area, and the Great Bay is certainly that, it adds its own kind of personal character to the oyster. Coastal towns all the way up and down both coasts are growing oysters, getting better at it. It's low impact on the environment. It's a really sustainable source of protein. It's just a great way to farm seafood.
So we use a long line system here. So each of those lines represent a different year class of oyster. So on this line, we actually have our market oysters, and I thought I'd pull up a market cage and we can take a look at some oysters. So this tray can hold about 1,500 market-size oysters. The wholesale price ranges from 60 to 80 cents.
So this represents $1,000?
It's a fair amount of money in this cage. And when we're really busy, we're selling 5,000 to 6,000 oysters a week. I love the biology of all this. I like to understand how the oyster grows and just how they work. That puzzle is what keeps me going. Here they are.
Terrific, look at that.
These are the 2012-2013 crop.
Really gorgeous oyster. Beautiful shell, nice cup. I give you like shucking 101.
Yeah.
Okay, so cup side always down, because that's where the oyster and all the juice sits. The hinge is right there in the back, so you just kind of go in and it's more finesse than force. So as I'm pushing in, I'm kind of twisting and I'm in and the oyster's open. So I just scrape up the right side on the top of the shell, pull that away clean, and the oyster's just floating in the liquid in the cup there. That one's for you.
That is really tender. You could definitely taste the salt in the water. Every place is different. They have a high salt content in this water?
Very high here, yep.
Yeah, I thought so. And by throwing this shell back in the water, I'm actually seeding the water?
Yeah, you're gonna attract some wild oysters to sit on that shell, so chuck away.
You want to try?
Yeah.
I have a towel. You want to use a towel?
Or a glove.
Or a glove?
You know, you have so little faith.
Nicely done.
You've done it before.
I have done this before. Loosen it up. Or I'll let you have it.
It's rare that somebody shucks me an oyster. I usually do the shucking. Awesome.
Nice, right?
Yeah, those are great.
Jonathan Swift said the first man who ate an oyster was a brave man.
And a hungry one.
And a hungry one,
yeah.
I think so. So this is your place?
Yeah, this is row 34 in Portsmouth.
Ah, we have the lovely Amy waiting for us.
Hey, so good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Nice to see you.
Nice. Hey there, how are you?
We missed you out in the water this
I know,
morning.
I wish I could have gone. So how was it?
It was beautiful.
Really?
Perfect day to be out in the water.
Oh my God, those look gorgeous. So what are we gonna be doing with him today?
Let's go in the kitchen.
Yeah.
All right, this is where the magic happens.
Here it is. You're in the right spot.
I love getting a chance to watch you cook. This is really fun.
Well, I'm glad you like it. Today we're just gonna do a really simple oyster stew. You know, it's fall, the leaves are turning, the oysters are plump from getting fat all summer, so it's something a little heartier, but it's a perfect day for it.
Now, the one thing I'm wondering about is the apple there. I'm not used to seeing apples and oysters.
No, a little diced, fresh local apple at the very end adds a nice sweet, tart flavor to the stew itself. It's
Nice.
I don't cook it in there, I just kind of put it over the top.
That's a great idea. Okay, so where do we start?
I'm gonna put a little butter in here, Richard, just don't let it burn.
Okay, sure.
All we're gonna really do is cook some vegetables, and we don't wanna cook them so much that everything gets mushy like maybe a traditional stew that you would think of. Everything's kind of cooked together quickly.
Now, is this a dish that you've been making for a long time,
You
or
know,
is it?
yeah, in different variations. I've been making this for years, and I always change it a little bit every year.
While it's an honor to be in the kitchen, I think the honor should be given to Amy.
Oh boy.
You just don't want me to yell at you?
I don't want to be yelled.
Okay, all right.
I get to cook in Jeremy's
I
kitchen.
only work well with positive affirmation.
I've dreamed of this day for my whole life.
You gotta dream bigger, Amy. So this is just a little bit of white wine,
Any kind of wine, like a lighter white?
a lighter bodied
Yeah,
wine,
yeah.
nothing too strong, like something really oaky
Yeah.
or something really fruity would
Yeah.
never really work. Something
Yeah.
a little more neutral.
All right, got some nice evaporation going on
Yeah, that's
there.
about perfect. So then
Okay,
we're just
cool.
gonna add a little bit of heavy cream. So I can tell it's ready is when I can run my spatula across the bottom and I can see the bottom.
Yeah.
So I know I'm about there. So we're gonna take it off the
Okay.
heat. A little fresh pepper. So we saved all the juice with the oysters, and that's really important because all that juice has so much flavor.
Right.
We can add that back in. And once that's all the oysters and the juice are in there, we don't want to really cook it too much. We want to just get everything warm.
They get ruffly at the edges.
Yeah, you're just kind of gently poaching the oysters in the liquid, and all that stuff is gonna kind of come together. A little bit of grilled sourdough, and then we just spoon the oysters and all the vegetables and the cream and everything right over the top.
All right.
And then what I love to do is, to make it look pretty, some fennel tops and celery leaves.
Make it pretty, Jeremy.
That's my job. It might not taste good. Let's not forget though, piece de resistance for the stew here. And these are just local apples. They're so pretty and so sweet and tart. And leave the skin on and just a few over the top. You guys ready?
I was born ready.
I'm gonna leave it to you.
I am so with you on that apple.
Yeah.
It really just like rounds out the dish.
And it tastes like fall.
That's so
No,
good.
it doesn't taste like fall. It tastes like a little bit of heaven has fallen into the sea.
That's even better, yeah.
Thank you not only for taking us in the kitchen, but you really shared a big slice of Portsmouth, New Hampshire to us. Being out on the sea, being in the kitchen, doesn't get any better.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeremy.
My
This is
pleasure.
great.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
I'm gonna keep eating.
Please do.